God has still not given me the appropriate words to express how excited I am to be here, how delighted I am to be back, how much I question your intelligence for inviting me back, but I'm really glad to be here and got to drag Mom with me again this year, and it's been a couple of years since I've been here, and I missed y'all, but here we are, and the only thing that I've ever told anybody, including David and all of y'all, that the only thing I'll promise you is I'll do my best. So, and I did think about a while ago if sprinkling was a acceptable form of baptism, we've all been rebaptized whether we wanted to be or not, I think, here last little bit. But as you are undoubtedly aware, the last couple of years have been pretty difficult for me, and y'all know I was taking care of my wife last time I was here, and I've lost her and lost a brother a few months ago and a nephew, and I will say to you what I've said to Brother David and his family. I have been hit pretty hard, physically, mentally, emotionally, and yes, spiritually. And I want to think for a few moments, if we can, about kind of that along those lines anyway. I'm going to read just a few verses if you want to turn with me from Matthew, the 26th chapter. Verses that I know that you're all really familiar with. And Jesus was knowing full well that he was about to be put through the shame of the cross, knowing that he was going to be betrayed. And in verse 35, Peter said unto him, Though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise, all of the other, likewise also said all the disciples. And then cometh Jesus with them into a place called Gethsemane, and said to the disciples, Sit ye here while I go and pray yonder. Kind of a simple request. He knew his life was already in danger. He knew that the Roman soldiers were close by, most likely. Guys, just sit here with me a few minutes. Let me go a little far off and let me pray. In verse 37, he says, He took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and I believe that was James and John, along with Peter. And he began to be sorrowful, very heavy. And then he said to them, My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. And he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he cometh unto the disciples and findeth them asleep. And saith unto Peter, What? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went again the second time and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them and went away and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then cometh he to his disciples and said unto them, Sleep on now, take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that doth betray me. And all he asked his disciples do, just stay here and wait for me a little bit. Kind of keep guard so that I can go and pray in peace. And he come back and found them asleep. I am quite sure that all of us at some point in time have had to wait on somebody for maybe a lengthy period of time. In fact, I heard a lady say today that sometimes she had to wait on her husband while he was shopping at secondhand stores, if you will, and she's been known to go to sleep. I've been known to go to sleep when he's supposed to be waiting for somebody, and in spite of how hard you try, you start getting just a little sleepy, and pretty soon you've gone to sleep. I think probably, I'm going to go out on a limb here just a little bit and say we've all probably been guilty of that at some point in time. And at some point in time, if you were in school, and I probably better be careful what I say here, but maybe you were working and you went to eat and you come back and boy, you just get really sleepy. No matter how hard you try, it just happens. Well, now, I'm going to put that aside for just a second. We know that the United States is in a conflict with Iran. Russia and Ukraine have been fighting for about 3 or 4 years. We know that there's all been other wars, and I never really gave it any thought, to be honest. I mean, I'm aware of all the wars, but maybe y'all have seen that General Jack Keane, that they talked to a lot on Fox News, and he put it real simply. He said, war is just simply a battle of wills. One enemy or the other, whichever side you're on, are fighting to break the will of the other side. So they'll back off. And the objective of war can be all kinds of things. It can be political. They want, in the case of Russia and Ukraine, Russia wanted some more of their territory. Maybe the leadership needs to be changed, and at least in the view of somebody, and so they go in and try to overthrow the government that's already there. And the whole point of me saying all that is this. If we are not careful, the battle of wills can be very, very, well, it doesn't matter if we're careful or not. It can be very, very difficult. These gentlemen, these disciples, I am convinced in my heart, and y'all can tell me if I'm wrong. You won't hurt my feelings none. But my belief is that those men had full intentions of staying awake, kind of keeping watch, so that Jesus could go pray. And then as I got to thinking about other things, and I know we go back to the old Bible quite a bit sometimes, but Adam and Eve, when God said, don't touch of that tree of life, in my mind, they had every intention of staying away from it. Until the serpent, and I don't know what that was, it doesn't make any difference. I do know that if some kind of a serpent come up and started talking to me, I'd probably pay attention a little bit. But trying to convince Eve, hey, God knows if you eat of that, you're going to be a smart person. Your eyes are going to be open. You're going to know things. And Dave and I were talking here last night in Joni, and I would love to know. And God chose that we didn't need to know, but I would love, there has to be some more conversation in there someplace. There maybe been a little argument there somewhere. And I know there was a little bit because he said, no, God said we can't partake of that. We can't eat that. Oh yeah, but and the conversation went on for maybe who knows how long it took. And of course, her will was broken. Now she goes to Adam. Hey, that stuff's pretty good. Well, God said leave it alone. I know, but boy, it's good. And the conversation, argument maybe happened. Now, I'll probably get in trouble here a little bit. Ladies, you ladies have a power that just men sometimes will bow down to. Twinkly little eyes, smile. Oh, honey, come on. You know, if you love me, you'll do this. And I have no idea what that happened. But I can just see that argument a little bit. Oh, honey, come on. It'll be all right. And she, not by herself, although that's the way it looks for a moment, but not by herself, she broke the will of Adam and he took it too. And we know that didn't turn out very well. And I don't know what the serpent turned into. I don't know. I've heard people say it was a snake. It could be an alligator. It could be a crocodile. It could be anything. I have no idea. And it really doesn't make any difference at this point. Except they're still dangerous. And I got to thinking about, Peter told Jesus here, I'll go with you all to death. They'll take me too. All of the disciples will back you 100%. Don't worry about it. I don't know if you've ever heard Ray Stevens' song. There's a song about the Blue Cyclone, about professional wrestlers, and they'd gone to the wrestling match. And something happened. He threw a chair into the match, and this big old boy called the Blue Cyclone ended up kind of beating Ray Stevens half to death. And then there was a part 2, and after he got well, and his buddies, oh, hey, we'll back you if you want to go take him out. So they go to this bar where the Blue Cyclone hangs out, and they caught him and said, hey, I got buddies now. You're not going to beat me up so bad. You turn around, they were gone. And Jesus knew that was going to happen. Warn Peter, yes, you will. You'll deny me 3. No, I won't. I'm not going to. And I believe he was probably sincere in telling Jesus, I'll go with you even unto death. Now, I want you to think about Peter for a minute. When Dave and I have been talking and the family have been talking a little bit, I think he's a really good example like you and I are. He has weaknesses. And you remember when first of all, Jesus said, no, you will deny me at some point. You will. No, I won't. Yeah, you will. And I have no doubt in my mind that Peter intended he was going to stand up no matter what happened. And when they come to get Jesus, he's the one that pulled out his sword and cut off the servants of the soldier's ear. And here Jesus gets on him again, put that sword away. So I could see him being just a little bit irritated, maybe. Here I am trying to stand up for you, and you're telling me not to do that. And I really believe that he had every intention of defending Jesus until his will was broken. Maybe his feelings got hurt just a little bit, but then you remember they come to him and say, hey, you were with him too. Oh no, I don't even know this man. Think about poor old Joe. I mean, we know he went through a tremendous amount of emotional, mental, physical trials and temptations. It would have been really easy for him to say, oh, I give up. We've all felt pain. We've all been uncomfortable. We've all been knocked down and drug out, if you will. And we know that the devil was trying to break his will. What about the old rich ruler? You know, I think he had every intention of trying to serve God until Jesus said, well, you got to sell everything you got. Get rid of it. I've always told people money's never been a problem for me. I've never had any, so it can't be a problem. He had a lot of possessions. And he just couldn't give it up. He just wasn't willing to sacrifice what he had. Thought about the prodigal son. You know, he decided, oh, I think I need to get out of here. You know, I don't know if Dad was too strict on him, if he had too much work to do. I don't know what was going through his mind, actually. But he said, well, I've had enough. I think I'm going to leave. Packed the stuff. Took off. We know that the wise men were sent by Herod the king to go find this baby Jesus. Go find him, let me know, report back to me. And we know his intention was to kill Jesus. And the wise men, I have no doubt in my mind that they were intent on going to find him and report back. But that will was broken too. So I guess what I'm trying to get to is this. I think you and I in this room today, we have every intention in the world of serving God acceptably, to do our very best. When we came forward and were baptized, we were full of Him and vigor. We were ready to go. We would stand up to anything. And yeah, I'm here to tell you, and I know that you all have had someone that you thought was as strong as the hardest rock that you could ever think of, the strongest tree. Someone that you knew who was serving God as best he could, and he was never going to be persuaded to do anything different. He was intent on serving God. He was intent about making heaven his home. Now, I don't want you to, I'm going to say something here that I hope you don't misunderstand. You can sit back there, and I've been in the same place that you are, listening to people speak, and you think, man, that is one strong Christian. Faithful. Cannot be wavering. Cannot be persuaded. His will cannot be broken. And I don't care who he is. I don't care how long he's been speaking or trying to preach the truth as you would expect. I don't care how much faith you had in him. I don't how it doesn't make any difference. That man is just as susceptible. If he's hit hard enough, his faith can be weakened. And it doesn't take but just a little bit. I was trying to think of a really good example. And I don't know that I have one, but I know that, when you're, I assume you'll have mice down here sometimes. And it just takes a little tiny hole, and they can squirm through there and get into your house. It just takes a little tiny hole. If the devil can find it, if he sees it, he's going to try to wiggle his way in any way he can. And make that hole a little wider, a little bigger. And he's going to keep beating and beating, especially if he sees that he could continue to beat on you and weaken you a little more. And maybe y'all are sitting back there and thinking, man, I'm doing the best I can. Nobody can move me. I've been told before that I was a pretty strong person. I didn't mean that. I'm not saying that to brag or to boast at all. I kind of had in my mind that I was fairly strong. I mean, I could stand up to things that I could handle. I never thought, and I've told you this a long time ago, y'all may or may not remember, there was about a 9-year period in my lifetime. It would have been, I don't know, mid to late 80s maybe. Work got in the way, kids got in the way a little bit. I didn't go to church very good. I kind of had my feelings hurt in 3 or 4 different directions. And still to this day, in some ways, I kind of felt like no matter, the harder I tried to be what I think God wanted me to be, and the person I wanted to be, the decisions that I made that I thought were right all turned out to be wrong. Got discouraged. Not unlike a lot of other people. And there was I know I have made a phone call to an individual and talked to him for a while. Got in a lot of trouble for making that phone call because back then long distance costs you money per minute. And you got expensive. Something smacked me in the face and said, son, you got to get something, you got to change some things. I told my family, I said, I'm going back to church. Y'all can go with me or you can stay home. It's up to you. But I am going and I'm putting both feet in and I'm going to do the best I can to stay there. I am going to say this, I don't think there's a person in here, and I love you all dearly, and I don't know, but I know we all make mistakes somewhere along the way. We all sin. God told us that we're going to sin. He knew that we were to make mistakes, come short, but he also made a way for us to get out. I've told you all before, I am nobody special. I don't want to be anybody special. I've told you all before that, and I think maybe you'll remember, a fellow that I've known, it was relation to us, told me a long time ago, I wasn't very big, maybe about the size of that little girl back there. But he said, son, if you think you're special, come put your finger in my iced tea. I went, what? Dad was sitting there and we were all around the shade tree. Come put your finger in my iced tea. Dad said, go ahead. I did, pulled it out. He said, did you leave a hole? I went, no, then you're nobody special. There's only one person that could have done that. There is not a person in the world today who is not susceptible to being beaten down. And it doesn't have to be mentally, it doesn't have to be physically, it doesn't have, you can be just someone trying to teach you something that is not in the scriptures. And they can keep working on you and working on you and working on you to a point where the devil finds a little crack. And he sees that you're a little vulnerable. And he's going to try to wiggle you in, and now the war starts. The war of wills. As I said already, I have no doubt in my mind that those disciples sitting there waiting on Jesus to get back praying, they had no intention of going to sleep. And I don't know how long Jesus was gone. It might have been 5 minutes, could have been an hour. I don't know. Could have been half a day. It doesn't make any difference. He asked him, please just watch for me. If they'd been real smart, maybe they could have taken turns. It didn't matter because that's the way it was supposed to be. It didn't matter that Adam and Eve knew not to take that fruit. It didn't matter that Pilate, when he was talking to his cohorts there, I don't find any fault with Jesus. You can find that in the 19th chapter of John. I find no fault in him. When God told Jonah to go to Nineveh and go preach, I think he had every intention until he started getting scared. That's the devil putting into him. The devil trying to work his way in to have doubts and second thoughts. I have said, and I think I told David, I don't know if it was in person or on the phone, we talk every now and then. For a little while, I was ashamed to admit to people that my faith was waning a little bit. There was some times in Indiana where, Mom broke her hip and different things happened, and then we got some pretty good snows. We couldn't really get out very good. And there was about a 2-month period we might have had church one time for various reasons. And it's almost like after a little while, if you're not careful, Sunday's just another day. And you get up in the morning, you think, yeah, I'm going to get ready to go to church. And then there's something that comes up a little bit, and you thought, maybe you don't feel very good, or something hurts, and I think, yeah, I'm going to wait till next week. That's the old devil working in me. And I kind of got to thinking, no matter what I tried to do, no matter how hard I was trying, there were just obstacles that I thought I could not overcome. But now I'm really not ashamed to tell you that because I think we all, in some way, form or another, have been in that situation. It varies on what the problems are. You have your heart broken. You see your mom heartbroken. You see her in pain. You see other people that we know really aren't trying to serve God at all, and they're just flourishing. And here we're trying to do our very best, and there's just issues coming at you from all directions. And I got physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually weakened. And it was real easy to wake up and say, I just really don't feel very good today. And you sit in the chair or you do something that really didn't amount to anything. Rather than doing some things that you really needed to be doing. I'll do that after a while. I'll do that tomorrow. I've got plenty of time. Good intentions really aren't going to get it done, is it? Jesus said, the Spirit's willing. We want so badly to serve God. We want in our minds, we're going to do everything it takes to serve God acceptably. But then the devil kind of keeps knocking at you here and there and pulling you one way or the other, and if you're not really careful, you lose the war to the devil. I've often wondered, maybe I shouldn't be wondering this. We know that the devil went to God and said, let me tempt Job. Let me do everything I can without taking, and God said, well, you do whatever you want to, just don't take his life. I've often wondered if there's a conversation between God and the devil. Hey, let me pick at Bruce a little while. Let me pick at David a little while. Let me pick at Joni or put all your names to it. Let me pick at them a little while. See if I can break their will. And maybe say, okay, God said, okay, go ahead, try it. Just don't take their life. I really kind of believe in my heart, I'm not really going to speak for David, but I think he and I in different situations, but came awful close to dying. Whether it was the illness he had this year or my broken neck, I may have told you this, or I asked the surgeon once, I said, how close did I come to being paralyzed? He kind of blew it off and went, about 1/8 of an inch. I said, well, how close did I come to not even being here? And he said, a little farther than that. I don't know what that meant. And I thought then, and maybe y'all think when you go through something like that God still has something for me to do. I got to find out what it is. And then as time goes on and things happen and things pile up on you, and it comes from every different direction. I can only imagine what Paul was thinking when he was in prison, knowing full well that he was one of the worst sinners in the world. And I have no doubt in my mind, I can't prove it, But I have no doubt in my mind that he was responsible for the deaths or killed himself many Christians. And to make that 180-degree turn, his will was broken by God. And I believe in my heart somehow, some way, and I'm going to be flat out honest. I've told Mom this on the way down. Brother David called back and said, I want you to come back. I couldn't wait to get here. I don't know how many weeks it's been. I couldn't wait to get here. And I knew in my heart that things were getting a little, my own soul, my own approach to things were getting a little better. I knew that God was still there for me. But I can't tell you how important it was for me to come down here. Not to come down to speak. It doesn't matter. I'm glad I can, and I'm glad you all have the trust and faith in me that I will do my best. I just need to be around some other Christians that have been through some of the things that I've been through. I didn't want to, wasn't looking for a pat on the back, say, oh honey, I'm so sorry you went through that. But I was sure looking forward to a hug and a pat and say, we love you. We're there to help you. We know that Paul, in Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13, says, there is no temptation taken you, but such is common to man. There are hundreds of people, thousands of people that have gone through similar things that I have. Nothing is unusual here. And we know that people are going to get down. We know they're going to get discouraged. But it says God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you're able. But it doesn't say that you won't get close. There is nothing there that says we're not going to get really close. Tempt you to a point that those battle of wills are really close together. But will, with the temptation, also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. Folks, I'm here to tell you, we all know about if you're an alcoholic, if you're a drug addict, several other issues that come about. The most important thing is to admit to yourself that you had a problem. And I'm here to tell you, there was a time just a few weeks ago, I just got out of the shower, combed my hair, everything. I looked in the mirror and I don't like the guy I'm seeing right now. I don't like the way I'm thinking right now. The devil was winning the war. He was breaking me down. And I knew I had to find a way back. You know, we hear that term, a recovering alcoholic. I'm getting better. I feel better. Mentally and physically, I've still got lots of things to take care of. But I know in my heart that I've got a lot of support right here in Georgia. And as important as that is for me, I know that I've got a support system in heaven. That if I talk to God, and I have, and I worried for a long time. I really did. As I'll put my hand on this Bible right now and tell you, I worried that God did not hear my prayers. He wasn't listening. He was not ignoring me. He was just not listening. I'm not going to give you what you need right now. He wasn't listening, wasn't hearing what I was asking for. And it's not been that many weeks ago. I spoke at church. No, I didn't. I led singing at church. And before we got any farther, after I'd sung a couple of songs, I said, I want the prayers of the church, and I want them now. I would like to be forgiven. I want God to hear my pleas. I want him and I to win the war. I want to one day meet him at wherever it's going to be in the air. I want to hear those words, well done, come on in. If you ever get worried that the devil is winning the war, and I don't care, I'm going to say this one more time, I don't care if you got just enough of a crack that in the doorway there where just a tiny little bit of air can come in, or a tiny little bit of water can come in. If he sees and understands that there's a little hole there I can poke at and make it bigger, he's going to use it and exploit it and try everything in the world to break your will. And I'm not stupid enough to think that he's still not working on me. I'm not stupid enough to think that he still sees some weakness here, and if I can get to him. And if you have some weakness there, he's going to try to get, and we all have the weakness. It's just a matter of trying to battle through it. Let God help us. I think it's in James. I didn't really look it up. But give God your cares. He cares for you. He loves us. And maybe sometimes we get tried and we get tested to see if we will break down. I don't know all the reasons. I don't have all the answers. I don't even know if I know what the questions are. But I do know this, that we're all going to get beat down one way or the other. And if he has weakened your faith like he has mine at some point, you can get it back. God's willing to hear you. God is willing to forgive us all. But we have to ask him. We have to come and ask him and say, God, help me. And it may be through the church. It may be through the prayers of the church. But we have to ask. We got to want it. And he's got to understand that we want to win this war. And if there's any question in your mind that when you pray to God, he doesn't hear you, you better fix it as quickly as you can, which is right now, while together we stand and sing.